back to the channel. Today we are excited to be joined by one of the rising featherweight contenders in the UFC, the controller, Connor Matthews. How you doing, Connor?
I'm doing great, man. Happy Friday.
Yes, sir. Question I really had for you, man, is what inspired you to get started on your journey in MMA?
First of all, I was just a lifelong passion martial artist. I've been training martial arts since I was like 5 years old or something like that. So just, it's kind of been a natural progression of that. It's always been something I've been into, competing especially. But after my military career, I actually didn't even expect to get to the UFC, to be completely honest. I kind of started training to deal with PTSD symptoms, like kind of coming back from fighting and just getting my mind right. I always use martial arts as like a segue for that. But, then it just turned into one fight, the next fight, and next thing you know, I'm in the UFC, and it's been a ride. It's been awesome.
Who has been some of your biggest influences or like role models as you were developing as a fighter?
So developing as a fighter, so growing up, I would say I started off my sensei. The first person I had he was a really big influence on who I was. His name's John Morando. He was just like, he's really cool. I still go to his classes here and there, just hop in and watch him teach, because he's really good at just training the mental part of being a fighter and being a martial artist, more than technical. But he's awesome. He produces really, really like talented, actually MMA fighter kids now. It's really, really impressive. So that was my first influence. Joe Lozon was a huge influence. I grew up in South Coast, Massachusetts. He was training out of Bridgewater. So me and my sensei, after we got finished doing class, like, traditional martial arts, and we do some jiu-jitsu as well, but we drive up to Lozon's, and that's when I started really getting exposed to like professional fighters and all that. Then, I fought for a while, did my military thing, came back. Carlos Lazoya, he's one of my teammates right now. He's on the up and coming right now. He's a 125er. He's got the title at Combat Zone. When I first came back to martial arts training after my military career, me and him were stationed down in Washington State, and we just by chance started training together. And now he moved from Washington State back over to the East Coast, and we still train together. So rolling jiu-jitsu wise, he's been a huge, he's a really good wrestler. He's helped me out a ton, and that's kind of like what I needed to develop. I wasn't a college or high school wrestler or anything like that, so I needed to develop that side of my game. He's been a huge influence. And then, just with the cartel now, Robin Calvin, they came in front of me. They've been big. All the guys at the cartel, Tyson Chartier has been a huge influence on my game. So, I've had a lifetime of training. I've been training for, 25 years. So that's just crazy. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's been a while.
Typical training camp look for you like?
A lot of driving. I do a lot of travel. So Massachusetts, the only thing, like, we have a lot of good spots, but everybody's kind of like spread out here in New England. So, but I train. I live in South Coast, Mass. I train up the New England Cartel. So I drive up there 4 times a week when I'm in fight camp. So going up there, there's really, really good bodies, really good guys. Tyson runs a great practice, and then I do my strength and conditioning with Mike Perry. He trains all the best fighters up here in New England, I would say. And yeah, they got Jake Manini is my Muay Thai coach. I go hit pads with him. Pete Luciani, he trains. I train with him. He's a really, really good striking coach. He has a lot of guys coming up underneath him, like Andrew Valdina and Joe Poirier. So yeah, I got a village around me up here. So it's a lot of it's driving around to those places, but we piece together. I'm training 3 hours a day, basically every day. And then additionally have my basement down here. Guys come down here as well.
You balance like your training, recovery, and rest during like intense camp.
It's a challenge. It's honestly like that's the hardest thing, is being able to push it, especially as you get older. You need more recovery. So like sitting in the car and driving is not necessarily recovery. But I know I do everything I possibly can. I'm big into like ice baths. I'm big into getting to a recovery centers. This place called Sanctuary around here that I go to has got ice baths, saunas, Normatec sleeves. I get in there, but like biggest thing, man, is just making sure I sleep, and just like I don't have the time to go out and enjoy like my life, really party and all that stuff. So it's just like easy. I'm training, I'm sleeping, eating, I'm getting ready for the next day.
Have any pre-fight rituals or routines that you do before getting into the cage to deal with the adrenaline?
Yeah, I think that's like monitoring and dealing with that that pressure of the fight week is always like, that's the biggest hardest thing. Like a lot of people are really good in the gym. When they get to the fights, they don't perform because of just the pressure. So yeah, I'm always doing things. I'm big into like breathing exercises. I have a breathing coach actually, this guy Michael Cristoforo, and he like I do during fight week I get really big. Basically, starting probably I'm like 6 weeks out. I do sessions with him during the week, every week, sometimes twice a week. And it's a lot of like working on like exercising with like no air in your lungs and just kind of getting used to having like building up that carbon dioxide and yeah, all that kind of helps you manage your stress and manage your adrenaline. So that's the biggest thing. So yeah, I do breathing exercises a lot. I'm hopping into I think the ice baths help me a lot with all of that stuff, just kind of training that mental toughness kind of deal with it. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is just being disciplined in all your training, and that will give you more confidence. So when you get to the cage, you're ready to go. And if you don't feel like you had a good fight camp, you weren't doing everything you possibly can, yeah, you're going to be really nervous and you're going to get in there and not perform that well.
What has been the most significant moment in your career so far?
I mean, definitely the most significant moment was after my Contender Series fight. That was my second one against Jairus Ferreras. I feel like I fought a really, really good fight that fight. Gets a really good opponent. Kid's 10-0. He's coming out of Brazil. He was way bigger than me. He was 6'3". Hit hard, could take fight. He was a good fighter. So beating him and earning my UFC contract was 100% the biggest thing it's ever. Especially because before that, I fought in front of Dana White two times. I lost both. Actually, I lost the first one against Francis Marshall, won the second one. To get on Dana White's looking for a fight, and then going back in there and earning the contract was awesome.
How do you deal with the setbacks or losses, like both mentally and physically?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of it is going back to kind of like dealing. There's nothing you can do besides you move forward, whatever it comes down to at the end of the day. But I learned a lot of that, like how to get back on the horses back in my military training. They're always breaking us down, and when we had it was called a washback. So you say you fail a school to go become in special operations in the military. We have really hard training. It's like 2.5 years. And if you fail a school, it sets you back like 2 months. And if you fail it again, you're done. So there's been a couple of scenarios where I failed schools and I had to go redo them again and just, getting that mental, never mind the physical part of having to start over from square one and go through that training again. The mental part of it is just like that pressure and that stress. And I know I got through those things quite a few times, and I feel like I just apply that to fighting. Is like, you just take the loss, learn, take the things you can gain from it, but you always come back better usually after a loss anyway. So that's what I look to do for my next fight.
Yes, sir. Speaking of, any news yet?
So no news yet. I had a little knee injury over here, just a meniscus. We got that cleared up. I'm already back to training. It was easy, and I'm moving around great on it. But so that's been the holdup since my last fight. But we're looking to try to get one off here by the end of the year. So we're just in recovery phase right now. I got surgery 3 weeks ago. But I definitely it looks like we can probably get something going by November, maybe December. So we'll see.
I look forward to them announcing that.
Me too.
I also had a question for you, man. How did you go from the nickname Bad News to the Controller?
So the Bad News was like the original nickname when I was fighting amateur before I left from the military, and I got that one from like the job sites because I'd be messing something up, being a kid, 18-year-old kid working construction, and like they call me Bad News, you know what I mean, and probably some other things, some relationship things that happened around that time, but yeah, that's how I got the name Bad News. When I fought, when I went to the military, came back. I feel like, the Controller was, first of all, a cool nickname. Nobody had that before. And it was like something I could kind of like pay back to the military, tell people who I am and tell people about my career of combat control.
And do you have any dreams outside of fighting or goals that you want to do after your career's over?
No, yeah, I got a lot of goals. Main thing is for me is that I want to have a gym. Big gym here in New England is going to be down the road, is to open up a gym, get fighters fighting out of my gym. Just kind of still doing what I'm doing, building awareness, for veterans with PTSD, and just kind of like helping those things. That's the thing, martial arts really helped me with that. So I just want to try to help people as much as that. And then I'm actually starting a brand pretty soon, and I'm going to be releasing that. And that's, grow that brand, grow that, and just kind of see where that goes for setting myself up for after my UFC career.
And if you could fight any fighter in history, who would it be and why?
In history, that's a good one. Everybody says current fighters. I'd like to fight a 45 Conor McGregor on his way up back in the day. Not the modern day Conor McGregor, because that'd be awesome. He's just my idol. You know what I mean? Like, I've always looked up to him as a martial artist, as a fighter, and things cool. So that'd be really badass. And it's just Conor versus Conor. You know what I mean? So I think it'd be a really cool fight.
That could sell a lot of tickets for sure.
Yeah.
When you're fighting, man, and it's like the day after and Sunday comes, what's your go-to post-fight cheat meal?
Post-fight cheat meal, I like steak and cheese. I love Philly steak and cheese. So my last fight kind of messed up, and I had a little bit of a steak and cheese before the after weigh-ins and stuff. I was like, I'll be fine. My stomach was all messed up from that, so I'm not doing that again. But like after that, I love a good cheesesteak after fighting, just nice greasy, a lot of fat. That's what I go for.
About all I had for you today, Connor, man. Is there any teammates, sponsors, or socials you want to shout out before we go?
Big sponsor right now, Route 24 Auto. Check them out. If anybody's looking for a vehicle in South Coast, Massachusetts, they got dealerships all down Route 24. So hit me up. I'll get you guys in the right connection. Additionally, just my New England Cartel, Tyson Chartier, all the teammates underneath them, and then Mom's Basement is my gym down here. So if you guys, anybody needs to follow me or anything like that, please follow me. ControllerMMA.com is my website. The Controller MMA is my Instagram. And that's all I got for you guys right now.
I appreciate your time today, Connor. Thanks for joining us, man. And we look forward to a fight announcement soon.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man.
Have a great day.
You too.